David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, breaking news, the dangerous weather impacting both sides of the country. A new round of severe storms now moving into the Northeast, one day after flooding rains pounded the region. New York City disappearing in ominous clouds. Out in the West, triple-digit heat, red flag warnings as wildfires burn across multiple states. 2 killed in Utah when a helicopter crashed while responding to a fire. Our weather team is standing by, tracking it all. Plus, Puerto Rico in crisis, the government now cutting water service as the island struggles with a severe drought and aging infrastructure. Also tonight, the growing hunt for a man accused of killing his father and setting his house on fire. Another family member tells us she fears for her life. For President Trump, a win and a loss. The Senate narrowly confirming his former personal lawyer as the next attorney general, but an appeals court put the brakes on his massive White House ballroom project. High-tech surveillance cameras under scrutiny. The backlash after dozens of police officers are accused of misusing the technology that can read license plates. Tonight, one company defends its product. Emergency declared, what forced a Delta jet to turn around and land back in Atlanta. The passengers evacuated. 3 people, including a young child, were found safe days after they went missing while inner tubing. The emotional ceremony at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. One of the new members with a heartbreaking announcement. Lost and found. The mystery behind the stolen Picasso is finally solved. And he calls it a postcard from heaven. How a man reconnected with his late parents more than a quarter century later.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Rachel Scott, in for Whit Johnson. As we come on the air tonight, dangerous weather from coast to coast. Severe storms bearing down on the Northeast, and out in the West, triple-digit temperatures, gusty winds, and deadly wildfires. Millions in the Northeast fearing there will be more scenes like this one. This video captured in New York City on Friday as that storm rolled in. And this time-lapse capturing the moments the storm moved over New York City's skyline. Out in the West, it's the double threat of extreme heat and wildfires. The flames in Utah claiming the lives of 2 firefighters who were killed in a helicopter crash while trying to battle the blaze. And new concerns tonight. The dry, gusty winds will reignite flames out in the West. ABC meteorologist Leslie Lopez leads us off tonight.
Tonight, millions in the Northeast are bracing for another round of severe storms fueled by dangerous heat across the region.
Oh, God.
In northern New Jersey, a lightning strike last night sending sparks flying outside this home. This time-lapse footage capturing dark clouds looming over the New York City skyline ahead of yesterday's storms. And near Newark Airport, this road submerged underwater. With the east battling storms, the west is facing deadly wildfires, triple-digit temperatures and strong winds fueling the flames. In Western Canada, wildfires there forcing more than 20,000 to evacuate as towns declare a state of emergency. And tonight, 2 Utah firefighters have been confirmed dead after their helicopter went down while battling those blazes. This video appearing to show one of the last flights of that helicopter before it crashed. In Klamath County, Oregon, a private contractor working with firefighters also killed when the fires overtook his bulldozer. The dry conditions and erratic winds raising the risk of fires reigniting. Record temperatures and drought causing historically low water levels at Lake Mead. More than 2/3 of the West Coast now facing drought conditions.
You can see with like the difference in colors through the rocks how high the water level used to be compared to now.
So let's get right to Leslie. Tracking the storms in the Northeast, how long is this going to stick around?
Yeah, not much relief on either coast, and it's going to stick around through at least tomorrow on the East Coast. Let me show you what's going on. We do have, again, severe weather threats out towards this area. We have severe thunderstorm watches anywhere from New York all the way up to Springfield, Albany, and the heat index is on. We're talking about humidity coupled with that temperature value, getting up to 99 degrees on Sunday and Monday. That's the feels-like temperature, not much better in Washington. And severe weather continues to threaten the Midwest, anywhere from Cedar Rapids all the way to Chicago. That's going to be 50 tomorrow. From Chicago out towards Pittsburgh, we're seeing that on Monday, damaging wind, large hail, a few tornadoes possible, and flash flooding. And then you head out towards the west. We're talking about fire alerts, air quality alerts, and heat, and a lot of smoke billowing still in the Pacific Northwest. Some of that is drifting all the way out towards Nebraska and also Chicago.
Yeah, that double threat out west. All right, Leslie, thank you. We're going to turn now to the intense search for a man suspected of killing his 70-year-old father in upstate New York. Police are alleging that 32-year-old Thomas Ryan deliberately set the fire to the home to cover up the murder. Ryan is considered armed and dangerous. ABC's Morgan Norwood has the new details just coming in tonight.
Tonight, the manhunt intensifying, with police going door to door, even combing homeless shelters, searching for a New York man who they say killed his own father before setting their upstate home on fire.
I have a two-story ranch, fire in the basement and the first floor.
Police say 32-year-old Thomas Ryan is considered armed and dangerous. The search now stretching into a third day. More agencies joining, including the NYPD and FBI. Around 7:30 p.m. Thursday, first responders rushing to this Greenville home 70 miles outside of New York City, finding the home engulfed in flames. This doorbell camera video showing the chilling moments before the alleged killing. The father seen by the grill on the deck holding what appears to be grilling tools. The suspect also seen carrying chopped wood into the house. Moments later, a loud boom. Ryan seen here running from the burning home. First responders finding his father's body, his daughter devastated.
Literally out of a nightmare, and it is something that we feared for a long time.
Law enforcement sources telling ABC News they believe the suspect lit the home on fire to cover up the murder. Stephanie Corio says her brother has had lifelong mental health issues. New York State Police say Ryan was seen in the Greenville area driving his father's gray Toyota Prius and wearing a black T-shirt and sweatpants.
And Rachel, authorities tonight say that they are chasing down every single lead and combing through surveillance video far beyond the crime scene and urging anyone with information to call 911. Rachel?
Yeah, certainly asking for the public's help. All right, thank you, Morgan. We turn now to politics and the drama in the nation's capital early this morning. The Senate narrowly confirming Todd Blanche, 50-49, as the nation's next attorney general. Blanche was finally able to win over two critical holdouts after weeks of negotiations. But two Republicans, Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, still voted against him. Here's ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
Tonight, America's top lawman is confirmed. Todd Blanche, once the president's personal defense lawyer, narrowly winning a dead-of-night Senate vote to formally become the next attorney general.
The yeas are 50, the nays are 49.
The 4:30 a.m. roll call saw two Republican senators voting against Blanche, citing an order he signed shielding the president and the Trump family from tax audits, as well as his creation of an anti-weaponization fund to possibly pay out claims to January 6th rioters. To secure votes from GOP skeptics, Blanche pledged that fund is dead.
There is no weaponization fund. The weaponization fund is dead. It's not moving forward.
Blanche's confirmation comes as Trump publicly blasts a top prosecutor in the Justice Department, the U.S. Attorney for D.C., Jeanine Pirro. Trump fuming over Pirro's decision to drop charges against a former Olympic canoeist she'd accused of destroying the lining of the recently renovated Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. Prosecutors in Pirro's office acknowledging the peeling surface was likely the result of a botched installation and not vandalism.
Really disappointed with Jeanine Pirro. She folded like an umbrella.
The president also vowing tonight to take the legal fight over his White House ballroom to the U.S. Supreme Court. In a 2-1 ruling Friday, a D.C. Circuit Appeals Court panel found whether or not a massive ballroom should be constructed is for Congress to decide. Trump has argued the 90,000-square-foot ballroom would be privately funded and serve to protect the rest of the White House complex, housing a drone port on its roof.
And the ballroom is really a shield.
The appeals court panel that handed the president that loss on the ballroom says security-related construction here can continue. The broader ruling's been put on pause for 2 weeks to allow the president to ask the Supreme Court to take up his appeal. Rachel?
Yeah, we expect that in the coming days. Okay, Stephen, and while we have you, we want to get to that other news out of Washington tonight, an update on the health of former President Joe Biden.
In an interview with the BBC, Hunter Biden says his father's prostate cancer, which had spread to his bones, has now gone further. Hunter Biden says his father's cancer is now very painful and very debilitating, but he says the 83-year-old former president is still out there doing his thing. Asked about this, Biden's office declined to comment. Rachel?
Yeah, so many wishing him well. All right, Stephen, thank you. And tune in to This Week tomorrow. Jonathan Carl has an exclusive interview with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez about progressive wins in Democratic primary races with the midterms now less than 3 months away. We're going to turn overseas now to Iran and Oman, close to a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. So let's get right to ABC's Marcus Muir. Marcus, these talks have collapsed before. Where do they stand now?
Yeah, that's right, Rachel. And more strong words from Iran tonight on the effort to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. An official saying that Iran is very close to a deal with Oman that would secure navigation through the strait, but that any deal is contingent on the U.S., saying that the strait will not reopen unless the U.S., quote, corrects its behavior. Iranians have also reiterated demands for the U.S. to lift its naval blockade on Iranian ships and ports, as well as calling on the U.S. and its allies to halt any attacks on Iranian proxies across the region. This new rhetoric comes as the U.S. and other parts of the world see higher fuel prices because of this crisis in the strait. And Rachel, tonight there's still no deal that would guarantee the safe reopening of that critical waterway.
Yeah, still no end to this conflict. Okay, Marcus, thank you. We turn now to Puerto Rico, facing yet another water crisis, this one fueled by severe drought and an aging infrastructure. Tens of thousands of people forced to line up for water as the tiny island now implements a rationing program. And there's no telling when all of this will end. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimber.
Tonight, the growing water crisis in Puerto Rico, where extreme drought now forcing the Puerto Rican government to ration water in communities across the U.S. territory. With conditions growing worse over the last 2 months, the capital of Puerto Rico, San Juan, and other major municipalities implementing 48-hour water restrictions for hundreds of thousands of residents. These tankers being used by the government to deliver much-needed water throughout the territory. Gloriana Baba, a resident of San Juan, saying it's unbelievable to be living through this today. July was the driest month ever recorded in San Juan in more than 120 years of records, roughly 68% of the island under drought conditions. The crisis complicated by years of decaying infrastructure. Over the last decade, Puerto Rico facing a number of crises, including an island-wide power outage in 2024, droughts in 2020 and 2015, and Hurricane Maria in 2017, a storm that killed nearly 3,000 people in Puerto Rico, according to a report commissioned by the Puerto Rican government. Puerto Rico has a finite supply of drinkable groundwater, and the manufacturing industry has put additional pressure on the already strained resource. In the southern town of Salinas, experts warning that wells are drying up and the South Aquifer is being depleted. Tourists caught in the crisis scrambling to make new plans. The Puerto Rican National Guard has been working since June to alleviate conditions, distributing over 500,000 gallons of water to residents already. Tonight, officials in Puerto Rico say they are praying that rain will come in the coming weeks. And Rachel, there doesn't appear to be any relief in sight. Puerto Rico's governor saying she does not know when the water rationing will end, while Puerto Rico's government also saying that they would continue to support the tourism industry in the territory as needed. Rachel?
Yeah, incredibly dire for so many residents there. Okay, Andrew, thank you. Next tonight, 6 former employees with Savannah Police Department are facing a criminal investigation for allegedly misusing a high-tech surveillance camera system used for tracking license plates. The technology has been hit with vandalism, lawsuits, and public protests in recent months, but supporters say it's vital to solving crimes. Here's ABC's Olivia Rubin.
Tonight, 6 former Savannah Police Department employees are now under criminal investigation. They were recently fired for allegedly misusing these controversial surveillance cameras made by the company Flock.
Totally honest, I'm disappointed. I'm pissed off about it.
The high-tech, AI-powered cameras read license plates and store that data for police departments to use. Over 120,000 now deployed nationwide. But backlash growing amid reports of misuse. Dozens of officers now charged or accused of using the technology inappropriately, including stalking. According to the Washington Post, this North Carolina police officer arrested for allegedly using it to track her boyfriend's ex-wife.
That's what bothers me the most, that the people that use this stuff for personal gain.
Critics also calling these cameras an invasion of privacy. Some are being vandalized in acts of protest. In Texas, this camera cut in half. And in Minnesota, a man posting these videos of himself covering the cameras with tape. But Flock says their cameras help law enforcement stop crimes, and some agree.
They have assisted our officers in solving numerous crimes.
That power on display after the Brown University shooting. The technology helping track down the gunman who went on the run after opening fire, killing 2 students and injuring 9 others.
And Rachel, Flock saying criminal acts like vandalism have no place here, even as people continue to voice their opinions in this ever-growing debate about individual privacy versus public safety. Rachel.
Okay, Olivia, thank you. Now to the tense moments aboard a Delta Airlines flight. The Orlando-bound jet forced to turn around shortly after takeoff and land back in Atlanta. This after reports of fumes in the cockpit, passengers and the crew using slides to evacuate that plane. No word yet on the source of those fumes. There's still so much more ahead here on World News Tonight this Saturday. Multiple children were rushed to hospitals after a car slammed into a daycare facility. A new clue in the search for an American woman who went missing in the Caribbean, and the mystery of how a signed Picasso wound up on the wall of someone's home in Milwaukee. Next tonight, chaos at a preschool in Glendale, California. A car slammed into the building Friday afternoon, tearing through a gate and into a room where children had gathered for summer camp. Police say that 8 children were rushed to local hospitals. All were later released. According to police, it appears to have been an accident. The 78-year-old driver was trying to make a U-turn when her car accelerated. There's a new development in the search for Liz Waddell, the North Carolina woman who went missing in Grenada 2 weeks ago. In a post, Waddell's husband says 2 jet skiers spoke to Liz at around 5:30 p.m. that day that she vanished. That's 5 hours after she was last seen on surveillance video. Kalen Waddell wrote the most likely scenario is that his wife may have drowned, but a lot of questions still remain. Back home, 3 people who went missing while tubing in Michigan have been found safe. The 2 women and a 9-year-old child set out on the Muskegon River on Tuesday. Their inner tubes were found 2 days later. And then on Friday, searchers who tracked the child's footprints found all 3 of them in the woods about 7 miles down the river. Police say they are now being evaluated at a hospital. Still ahead, a new member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame shares some heartbreaking news. To the index now, in a moving moment today, the Pro Football Hall of Fame welcomed 5 new members, including quarterback Drew Brees and wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald. One of the inductees, Roger Craig, addressed the gathering on tape, revealing that he has been diagnosed with vascular dementia, possibly related to concussions he has suffered.
The changes were gradual. At first, they were easy to dismiss as normal aging. Over time, my family noticed it too.
Craig is 66 years old. He played 11 years as a running back in the NFL. He says he hopes sharing his story will encourage others to pay more attention to their own health. Next, a valuable work of art was found in a very unlikely place. A landlord in Milwaukee was cleaning a vacant property when he came across this print of an original Picasso signed by the artist himself. The landlord thought he had struck it rich, but it turns out the piece had been stolen from an art gallery 8 years ago. He turned it over to police, who are working to get it back to its rightful owner. When we come back, the son who says he got a postcard from heaven. And finally, we end tonight with a very special delivery.
It was a piece of mail that arrived a little late, 26 years late.
I started looking at it and go, oh my gosh, this is a treasure.
When Bob Shepard opened his mailbox, he found this old, worn-out postcard. It was sent from Denmark in the summer of 2000.
It was the only mail I got that day.
The card signed M&D.
Flying in, we saw lots of water and green land everywhere. Love, M&D for Mom and Dad.
Bob's parents passed away. His mom, Joanne, 4 years ago. His father, John, 6 years ago during the pandemic. Because of hospital restrictions at the time, he never got a chance to say goodbye.
It haunts me to this day.
The postcard's origin was the least surprising of it all. Bob's parents loved to travel. He still has their pictures and passport pages filled with stamps from all over the world.
Easter Island, the Galapagos, Africa. There's my mom in a boat.
And then that other trip on the list, Denmark. And that's where this postcard was mailed from. The date, July 2000. But it was only recently postmarked this year, August 2026 in Los Angeles. It's still a mystery where this postcard has been all these years. But for Bob, perhaps it arrived right on time.
This was, to me, almost a postcard from heaven.
Thanks so much for watching. I'm Rachel Scott. Have a great night.
David Muir, the most trusted anchor in America, the most watched anchor in America. Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir the #1 newscast in America.